When it is time to move, y'all, move. And I'm not just talking about location. Sometimes you have to know when it's time to quit, when it's time to give up something. If it is no longer serving you, give it up. Hey y'all, so I am here. You guys have been asking me for a YouTube channel for years now, and we finally made it. So hey, I am Amarielle. My screen name, or the name I go by on social media, is The Real Amarielle. I am a tech influencer. I study real estate. I am a graphic designer, a marketer, and so much more. But that's not what we are here for today. I am here to tell you guys why I moved back home with my parents. So I have wrote some notes here. You can see, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I wrote some notes here to keep me on track with this video, y'all, because I will get to rambling and we'll be here all day. But I want to try to make this as short as possible, but give all the details that I can. So, in order for me to tell you guys how I got to this point in my life, it will only make sense for me to backtrack at least a couple of years so you guys can know exactly, you know, who I am, where I came from, and you know how all those decisions affected me. So in 2020 I was 17 in high school, and COVID really affected me. Some people for the good, some people for the bad. As far as me, it was definitely for the good. I was, you know, a senior in high school, and one weekend, I want to say it was March, one weekend we went home for Christmas break for the weekend, and we didn't go back. We didn't return back to school. Everything was turned online, and then, you know, graduation and all that, everything was pretty much switched to where it was virtual or not so in person, and I had to make that adjustment. So at that time I didn't have any school. I was working at Cookout here and in my hometown, and I definitely was not making a lot of money at Cookout. I literally was just working so that I could save up a little bit for college, get my nails done, maybe get my hair done. It was definitely a trying time in my life. My parents, they did not want me to work at Cookout no longer because COVID was getting very bad, and at that point we did not know how COVID was being passed. And so they felt like it was, you know, through, you know, touch, and so they didn't want me to work in public, you know, and then bring stuff back home to my dad, my sister, or my mom. And so they made me quit working. But I definitely, and a lot of people will say when I tell my story, why did they do that? Why did they make you quit working? I would never make my child quit working. That was one of the best decisions that they could have ever did for me, because when they made me stop working, I was forced to think about what I really could do, what I was good at, and it's always been being creative. So I started with my lash business, and at that point it was like, okay, let me just try to make a little bit of money. I still got, you know, stuff I need to take care of, such as my hair, my nail, you know, just being a girl. And I had braces at the time. I had $100 braces payment, so I had to make sure I had that money for my braces payment. And so I started to sell lashes. I took my last $200 Cookout check and I ordered lashes. And I'll insert a picture of like what my Cookout checks used to look like, because they definitely didn't used to be hitting on nothing. But I took my last $200 and I invested in the lashes. I got me a vendor, a Chinese vendor, and spent all my money on lashes and flipped it. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. After that, I started selling lip gloss and lashes. That quickly ran out. Definitely do not suggest starting lip gloss as like one of your first businesses, because it's a lot to make lip gloss actually lucrative. It's a lot, because of course, you know, you got to have some bomb lip gloss or a bomb target audience for people to buy lip gloss at, you know, $10-20 a piece, to where you can actually make a good profit. Just a little business tip in there. But that quickly ran out. before that ran out, sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. Before that ran out, I decided that I was going to brand my lip gloss and my lashes business, because that's what everybody was doing in 2020. It was all about the cartoons, and it was all about the glitter, the pink, the girl boss era or whatever. And so I decided I wanted to brand my business. But like I told you, I didn't have much money to brand my business due to me making that investment in the lashes and the lip gloss. So I'm like, I'm gonna brand my business myself. Didn't know what I was doing at all. You know, got on Canva, got on PixArt. Shout out to Canva. Big shout out to Canva. We stand with Canva. I love Canva so much. But got on Canva, made me a logo, and started to brand my business, you know, business cards, flyers and all that type of stuff on Canva, and I liked it. So of course I posted it, and I didn't post it with the intention of selling anything, but I posted it like, hey, look what I did, and it pretty much took off. And then it started with family started asking me, hey, can you do this project for me? I did it, you know, for free. And then after that I decided that, okay, maybe I'll try to do this for other people. And so then I did it for donations. And y'all, let me tell y'all, this lady, I did this logo for this lady. This lady, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't good at the time, but y'all, this lady gave me $2 as a donation. She was like, this is all I have left on my Cash App. Yeah, I literally remember this. If I could find the screenshots, I will include them here because it's crazy. But yeah, that's when I realized, like, okay, you're actually growing. Focus on your craft. Find your graphic design class. Learn how to get better at graphic design so that you can charge more, because $2 is not cutting it. You don't have a job. You're going to college in a few months, and that's not it. So that's exactly what I did. I designed every single day, y'all, every single day, to where I got to a point to where I could charge. And then I started charging, you know, like $150 for like websites, like $50, $35 for flyers, $5 for highlights and things like that. And it literally took off from there, y'all. I made sure that I invested in my business. I allowed myself to invest in my business when it was time. I didn't allow myself to be stuck. When it was time to invest and move up, that's exactly what I did. So I started out on my phone, like most people, and then I moved up to, I bought an iPad. Did I buy an iPad? Yes, I bought an iPad. I bought an iPad, and then after that, I moved up to a MacBook. So that I could better my craft. Like I said, got in graphic design classes. I actually got scammed one time from a graphic design class, but that's a whole nother video. But I invested in my craft every single day in my time, and I got myself to a point where it was time to move on to like Photoshop and things like that. And this was my career at this point. I had developed a graphic design business with full policies, websites, LLC, you name it, I had it. And that's where I was, period. Everybody knew that they could come to me to get their business branded the right way. And at that point, at the cheap, you know, level. Did that up until college. I went to college, and in college, I was graphic designing, but it was hard to balance both graphic design and college. Even though at that point it was COVID and none of my classes were in person, I was still trying to, you know, balance between going back on my Photoshop screen and designing like a logo or a website for somebody, and being in my actual like online classes. On top of that, like I said, COVID, I kept being put on the 2-week restriction of the COVID time because I was around people that had COVID. So I would get tested for COVID and I would not have COVID, and then I would still have to do my 2 weeks of quarantine. So from August to September of 2020, I was in quarantine like 3 times at the HBCU that I went to. And at that point I was over it, completely over it, feeling very isolated, feeling just down at the fact that I wasn't able to have any human interaction in person. You know, that's what I came to college for, not just for my studies, but also to be able to go out, meet new people, do stuff, party, whatever. And I couldn't do that. I felt very restricted. And so I came home, along with the fact that I did have a boyfriend that I had been with for forever. So that kind of also affected my decision to come home. It was mainly academic based and COVID, but me having a boyfriend back at home also didn't, help the fact, I wanted to come back home. So in September 2020, I packed up all my stuff, and I moved back home. And so when I moved back home, I switched all my classes to, I had 2 hybrid classes when I was going to Fayetteville State. And so when I moved back home, I switched those 2 hybrid classes to online, strictly online, and then yeah, it was pretty much up from there. So I allowed my business to take off to the point that it was going to, because I now was just in a better environment to have like the time and the mental space to actually pertain to my classes and my business. So I was doing it. I was doing the business and the college at the same time. And then I started saving up. Me and my boyfriend decided that we wanted to get a apartment together, and so we started saving for that. He was working, I was working in my business, and yeah, so we worked all the way up until May of 2021, and we decided we were going to move in an apartment in Fayetteville June 2021. At this time, I was still in school, but it was the summer. I was doing school online. It was the summer. And so we did that. I made the big move. I moved 4 hours from home, which is Shelby, North Carolina, to Fayetteville, North Carolina, to just, be with my boyfriend, kind of build a home, build my relationship. Also have, I had my room for my business, so still looking out for my business. And also I wanted to return back to do classes in person. So that's exactly what I did. I moved to Fayetteville to do all of that. So I signed back up for school, or re-enrolled for the year, and started going in person. And I felt the same thing that I was feeling kind of like the year before, about just being overwhelmed with everything. At this point, I have a whole apartment to take care of. So, I was making money before and at home, and things were fine. Everything that I was making was mine. My parents didn't make me pay any bills, or I literally had no responsibilities. But moving, to Fayetteville, of course, I had responsibilities. So it's like, now I kind of have to make a choice. My business is here. I literally am so big at this point that I have to hire employees. College is fully in person, so I have 8 classes in person. But I have to make sure that I work enough in my business to pay my bills. And like, I just kind of had to choose what was best for me. I also didn't mention that I had a full ride scholarship. So I went to an early college high school, and all I had left was 2 years in my undergraduate degree. And I chose what was best for me at that time, and what was best for me at that time was to let school go, which is what I didn't care about the most, and do my business full time, and take care of my family. I say family, but I definitely don't have any kids. I just had a dog at the time. But yeah, that's like definitely that's what it was like moving to Fayetteville. Also, people would ask me how was the experience when I told my parents I was moving out with my boyfriend. And of course, they had the same natural experience that all parents have. Like, why are you doing that? You guys are not married. You guys barely know each other, the whole speech about how I need to get my own apartment first, and am I ready? And let me just say this. They were right. All of the things that your parents teach you that is good, most of the time will play back in your head in your adult life. My people specifically told me to get my own apartment first. Not that it was anything against him, but it was just like, I needed to figure out life myself as an adult before trying to do it with someone else. And I agree with that completely. His mom told him the same thing. Of course, we're like, what? Y'all not gonna tell us? We grow, we move where we want to go. But yeah, we felt like as long as we had jobs and the financial backing to support us, that we would be fine. But that isn't always true. You can have all the money in the world and your emotional state be, in an uproar, or your mental state will affect you in ways to where you cannot do regular things such as go to work every single day or stay happy every single day. Those things do play a factor, even though you might be, you know, financially stable. And at the time, I definitely was. I was making $10,000 a month, $8,000 to $10,000 a month. You know, bills are literally, my rent was $775. Let y'all in on my life. My rent was $775, so I definitely hit the lotto with that one. And so it's like bills was not high, especially splitting them between two people. My bills were not high. I was fine, absolutely fine. In October of 2021, sorry, let me backtrack. In September of 2021, I decided to quit. So I quit. I called my school, and they were telling me that I had lost my full ride due to my grades slipping, due to everything going on, and I was crushed because I worked so hard for that full ride in high school, coming from a small town and a family where people do not go to college, and if they do go to college, they end up dropping out due to financial reasons. It's like, okay, yes, I finally got a full ride. Now my parents don't have to worry about trying to put me through school. And I'll be fine. I'll be the lawyer that I wanted to be. High school definitely had me like in the route of going into education, then going into the workforce. But I had to be realistic with myself, and that's not where I see myself going at that time. And so I felt like I was kind of wasting my time, on top of the fact that I had dropped my lost my scholarship. I stopped going. I quit. And I talked to my dad about it, and my dad was like, you know, I knew it was a matter of time. The amount of money that you're making a month now and where you are now, you're fine. And it wasn't that he wanted to discourage me from it, but it's like, if that's not what you want to do, and you know it's going to be 6-7 years in law school until you're making that kind of money, and maybe not even then, do what you want to do and do the best that you can do at it. My mom was disappointed, but she finally, you know, caught on and was like supportive of my business. Plus they had been watching me build my business ground up in this very room in their house, you know, for over a year at that point. And so I quit. I stopped going in September of 2021. And I felt kind of down on myself because I don't quit. I don't care if I do not want to do it. I do not quit things. I just don't. I'm not a quitter. So, yeah, I felt kind of down on myself, cried for a few days, and I made up my mind like this. You know that's not what you want to do at this point. You know that your business is what you want to do. You want to do it full time, and you want to be the girlfriend that you want to be, the dog mom that you want to be, and that's just not in the plans at this moment in life. And so quit, did my business full time for a few months. After that, my boyfriend lost his job in October, and I won't go into depth about that just out of respect for him. But he lost his job, and so everything was on me. And at that point I was facing a lot of disputes in my business, you know, people buying stuff from me and then acting like I didn't return back the designs from them to them. It's just a whole lot of scamming going on basically. And that was in September. And then October, I was having some issues with my landlord, or the property manager's management over the apartment that I lived in, and they would not fix my toilet. I literally was having I was calling them like, please come fix my toilet, please come fix my toilet. I was putting in maintenance requests, and they were coming out, and it's like they would plunge it, but they wouldn't fix the actual problem. So it got to the point to where my toilet would be clogged up to where I would literally have to get up in the middle of the night and go to like 7-Eleven or somewhere to use the bathroom. And I just couldn't take it anymore. The tub, there was literally, sorry, trigger warning, but there was like feces coming back up the out of the tub drain. So we couldn't even take showers. So it was very bad. So I called them and I was like, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna have to do something about this if you guys don't, because this is unsanitary. It's gonna make us sick. We can't use the bathroom in the house that we pay rent in. Y'all ain't gonna get y'all rent. Like, yeah. And my daddy also told me to tell them that. He told me to tell them that I was going to call Channel 3 News if they didn't fix it. So I called them and told them that, and I think that took them over the edge, because when I checked the mail the next week, I had an eviction letter in there that said I had to be out in the next 30 days. I cried so bad because it was just the wrong time for everything. It's like everything was hitting me just like this. You know, I told you that my boyfriend had just lost his job, and I was pretty much taking care of all the bills myself. I was facing $1,000 disputes, so I had to give thousands of dollars back to the bank due to the the unlawful dispute. And I had money saved up, but it just was unexpected. No matter how much money you have saved up, it's unexpected for you to say in 30 days you have to find somewhere else to go. So I racked my brain trying to figure out what apartment we were going to live in. You know, I did some research, we did some tours, found another apartment, and then we moved in November of 2021 to another city in North Carolina, Hope Mills, and yeah, which is not far from Fayetteville, so still in the area. Yeah, so still doing my business full time at that point, and everything was fine. I was getting so many brand deals. Designs were coming left and right. I made the decision to switch from not just being a designer to being a design coach. So I was doing that full time. I had so many clients that I designed for. I had so many students that I taught how to design. And I was fed. Everything was fed, if you get what I'm saying. Emotionally, I was fine. Spiritually, I started to be on my walk with God. To know him for myself, and financially I was fed. The money was straight, the money was coming in. Also had, you know, help from several different streams of income that I have, along with my soul being fed in business. Sometimes in business I feel like we do stuff for money, or we do stuff because somebody told us that we needed to, or somebody asked for a tutorial, or whatever the case may be, and you just can't do business based on all of those things. You have to do business because you have a passion for it, and that's period. Or eventually it's gonna run out. Your love for it is gonna run out. So coaching and all that definitely is feeding my soul. I absolutely loved it. So I continued that up until, I'm gonna say, about May. And that's when my boyfriend and I kind of start having like more problems. We were definitely going through a lot. Definitely. It was hard in the area to like find a job. And I felt like I wasn't being supported in the relationship anymore. I feel like it no longer served me. And I still was trying, due to the fact that we had been together forever, and you know, just a lot of history and a lot of love there. And so in May we broke up and went our separate ways. And I could go into detail with that, but of course, out of respect for him, I'm definitely not going to. Just know that we broke up and it was not good. And yeah, so that affected me. I went through that for months. You know, before I started dating, or before I started trying to move on or whatever, I went through that for months to deal with myself about that. We broke up, mostly my decision to break up, and I had to deal with, you know, just all of the feels from that. Me being alone, getting used to being in the house by myself, and you know, just not having my sidekick or my best friend by my side. I still have my dog though, so I felt like, okay, the world's not completely ending. I still have my dog Kenji. It's a Yorkie. And after that, put my all back into my business, and got booked for a gig to go to New Orleans to teach women about business, marketing, and just how to start from the ground up. I had several just design projects that I absolutely loved. Design projects were not coming as they used to, but now I had upped my prices due to my experience, and now I'm, you know, operating in the $1,000 range. And so whenever the design clients come, they come swinging. Shout out to y'all. They come swinging with their funds, and so I was not struggling, not at all. Besides emotionally dealing with the fact that I was alone or single. And let me see where I left off. I went to New Orleans in July. August I did my photo shoot for a university that I had planned to launch. So everything was just looking up. But the last payment from New Orleans that I received to go to New Orleans was $1,000 to go to, was it $1,000? I think, to go to New Orleans. That was the last payment that I received for a long time. And at that point I had money saved up, but bills do not stop. You know, there's just stuff that you need in life. You know, there's tissue, there's your car messing up, you know, there's oil changes, there's rent, utilities, there's, you know, just so much. And that was the last payment that I received for a while. So I had enough money saved up to where I had months of wiggle room as far as either finding a job or getting more design projects or whatever. I had months. So from July to October, I did not receive any income in any way. Was get paid from Facebook at the time, but I was placed on the lower fee due to being put in Facebook jail. So I wasn't able to get my payment there. Just a whole lot of y'all. And money just started trickling down pretty much. And I was sad, but I was just trying to figure out what I needed to do next. It's not it's not common. No, that's not right. What's the words? It's not common that you have dry spells in business. Months of dry spells are months where your sales were not like they were before. And so I just kept feeling like it's gonna pick back up, everything's gonna be fine. And then it wasn't. So on September 4th, my dog passed. I was very depressed for weeks. I felt like I wasn't worth anything because I didn't have any income. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to cry. But this is very personal to me. Growing up in poverty, I specifically relate my own value to how much money I have. And so when I didn't have any, when I wasn't making any money, I was very, 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 very depressed. And I stayed in bed for like 2 weeks. Along with having family issues at that time, I stayed in bed for like 2 weeks and I was not doing anything. I wasn't brushing my teeth. I wasn't washing myself. I wasn't eating. I was going to the bathroom, getting back into bed, days at a time, just going back and forth. And for some reason, I needed my responsibilities to stop for a minute so that I could breathe and think and figure out my next move. And in doing that, I was not feeding myself, and so I neglected my dog. I did not feed my dog as I should have. And he was a little Yorkie. He was only a few pounds. And so, of course, a couple days of no food, or I don't even know how long it was, of no food, he passed. And so I woke up one morning and I went to go check on him, and he was not with me anymore. He was literally laid over in his cage. And he had passed away. I don't even know how long he had been dead. I had put a cover over his cage because I just didn't want to deal with anything that required me to do anything. And so I had put a cover over his cage, and I don't even know how long he had been dead. So rest in peace, Kenji. I will put a picture here. But that definitely affected me. They say you never know what you got until it's gone. He was definitely a bright spirit that always brightened my day up regardless. That was my baby, y'all. Like, that was my baby. He used to get on my nerves and bark all the time. Had to have a brief intermission. I was crying, and thank God my camera's not working. But anyways, love Kenji. Kenji was definitely a very big part of my life, and I'm so sad that I got to a point in my life where I neglected him, and I had to deal with that for a while. So that kind of weighed on my spirit, and things just didn't get better. I got hired on at a position in Hope Mills. It was an office administrator position, and I was so excited about it. You know, I have my offer letter and everything. I was so excited, and I worked for one day, and then they came back the next day and was like, you know what, we just need somebody with more experience, 10 plus years experience. And y'all, the stuff I was doing, it was not nothing that nobody should have to have years of experience in. You know, stuff like filing papers, you know, sending out emails. It really was not, you know, I just felt like either they hired me on and didn't have the capacity for an employee, or I came in, started talking and doing my thug thizzle, and they got intimidated. I try not to be like that, but sometimes we just have to call a spade a spade. Sometimes you intimidate people, and they don't feel like they can teach you anything, or they don't feel like they feel like you're better than them, essentially, and so they get scared of you. And it's like, how are you better than me? And I mean, how am I better than you? And I'm coming to you for a job. But anyways, yeah, so that happened. They fired me, you know, and so it was like I was trying my best to get job or design gigs, whatever I could, literally, to keep myself afloat. And emotionally, I was just shot. I didn't know what to do at all. I just didn't know what to do. And so I had enough money saved up from July to October to be able to pay all my bills from July to October. But of course, you know, money runs out. And I hate that I was so down on myself about it, but I have to be honest. Most adults wouldn't have even lasted from July to October with having no income. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and not talking down on people that do, because you have to do what you have to do. But I had money saved up. Like, I did not want to be that person. You know, I know what that feels like, and so I didn't want to have to be that person to, you know, put myself through that. Along with the fact that I was missing a whole nother income, you know, due to him losing his job and, you know, moving out and things like that. So things were definitely hard for me at that point. And I made the decision that I needed to get my life together, period. No matter what I had to do. And so I wrote some goals down and racked my brain about what I wanted to do. And I told myself the anxiety that comes with business, with solely doing business, let me say that. I'm not willing to gamble at that anymore. 2 years ago, I was willing to gamble to say, maybe I'll make $1,000 this month. Maybe I'll make $10,000 this month. Right now in my life, I'm not with the gamble. It gives me a lot of anxiety, and I don't just want to do business anymore. I want to do business and a career, or I want a career in what I did in my business so I can be happy, be creative, have my soul fed, have my pockets fed, and all that. So I made a decision. I'm like, I'm going to go to real estate school. I'm going to build a career that I do not have to worry about specifically whether someone feels like I'm validated on social media or not, to pay me, essentially. Real estate is one of those careers that if you're smart, you're going to use social media, but you can actually build a real estate career under a brokerage without having to use your social media a lot. People just do, because that's the times that we're in. But yes. And in order for me to go to school or get any further in my career or finances or emotional state or anything, I needed to change my location. I could have stayed there, stuck it out, did things like apply for government assistance. I could have, you know, went to like a shelter. I could have I had a few different choices. At that point, my ex-boyfriend had an apartment. I could have went and moved back in with him, but I chose not to. I chose myself this time and the betterment of my career and just the state that I was in, period. And so I made a decision to come back home to my hometown, to my parents' house, to get my life together. On my way back, I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I haven't left out anything. On my way back home, I decided to record a vlog because I am not the only person that has went through this. I'm not the only person that has been doing business and business stopped. I'm not the only person that had to return back home. You know, things happen, unforeseen circumstances happen, such as, you know, you have parents getting sick, you have mass job layoffs, stuff happens. And I'm not the only person that has went through this, so I decided to document my journey and be open about it, because I'm not that entrepreneur. I've never been that entrepreneur that's going to tell you everything is peaches and cream, and I'm just not. I'm a realist and I just don't lie. So I decided to be open about what I was going through and how I felt, and my followers, baby, they rocked with me. Do you hear me? So I recorded a reel that day. I recorded my clips like I usually do. I record my clips in my phone and then you know, put them all together and put them on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever the case may be. And so I recorded and put it on Instagram first, and it took off. So the video included clips, and I'll put it right here. But the video included clips of me and my little sister putting things in a U-Haul. It included you know, my trip back home. Had to drive my 4 hours back home. It included a clip of me being very, very emotional and vulnerable in the car on my way back home. And yeah, I didn't expect it to do numbers, but it definitely did. I'm gonna go check on Instagram right now to see specifically the numbers that it did do, or has done rather. Let me see. So my moving back home vlog has did 429,000 wow, 429,000 views. This is what it looks like on my Instagram. That was October 22nd of 2022, and there's so many comments. There is thousands of comments, y'all. So I'll put a few comments here that actually stuck out to me. We have Tyler Shimon saying, "I love your truth." That comment definitely spoke to me, because we live in a society where so much stuff is aesthetically pleasing that people are lying. And so me being truthful to myself, I'm so glad I connected with you, and shout out to you, Tyler. Love, love, love your brand. There's a few comments about how people needed this, how God has a plan. Cecil, I think that is her name, out of Greensboro, North Carolina, shout out to you. We've had a few DM conversations. I absolutely love you and your spirit, period. She wrote, "I'm proud of you. I've been there before where I had to go home with 3 kids and woo, how embarrassing, but I knew it was only temporary." That made me feel so much better, because I don't like to compare situations, but it just could have been worse. It could have been worse, and I did have somewhere to go back to, so I'm so very thankful about that. Some people that I didn't even know followed me, some hair companies commented on it, some of my former clients. People just showed so much love, y'all. Like, it's literally, I don't know if you can see, but like there's literally so many comments, and it's just so beautiful to me. I received DMs. Everything was just so overwhelming. I received DMs. I'll put those here as well, from people basically saying like, "Thank you so much for posting this. I'm going through this right now," or "I'm about to do this weekend," or "I have to do the same thing next month." And it definitely showed me that I was not alone. It helped me on my journey with feeling better about myself that I had moved home. And yeah, on top of that, it put me on a lot of people's explore pages and definitely boosted my page. I gained over 1,000 followers from that, so I was so excited that I could grow my social media page and get exposure based on my truth and not based on any lies, or not, you know, I didn't get on here, I didn't shake nothing, I didn't get on here naked, everything was fully clothed. I just told my truth and people loved it. And after that, my other videos on my Instagram started taking off as well, because of course once people watch one video, they're going to watch like multiple videos. They want to know about you. My followers asked me for an Amazon wish list. That is in my bio if you guys want to support me on my journey. It's in my bio with just some things for my apartment whenever I get one, and just, you know, for my personal on my journey since I have been home. Let me look at my notes to see, is there anything that I'm missing? Okay, what am I doing now? So what am I doing now? So I worked a job for a month since I've been home. I was creative director for like a real estate company and a work bar, and I absolutely loved it. But unfortunately I had to let it go just for bigger opportunities. So now I'm looking for jobs in marketing, or you know, just doing simple design jobs on the side to build up myself financially and to put myself in a better position. I'm definitely looking for a full-time creative job where I am able to I don't feel like I should have to at this point trade my time for money. I've worked so hard at building myself and my skills up that I want to trade my creative abilities or my skills for money. So I'm kind of, you know, still in the works of looking for me a job in that area. I do have a few on the line that I am kind of deciding on. But just taking my time, y'all, being gentle with myself. I am in real estate school, so I'm also doing that, working with myself about my spiritual journey. God has definitely been opening up my eyes to a lot of stuff, and I understand that there's a lot of things that I have did within the last couple years of my life because people wanted me to, and because it was what was expected of me, and because I needed money to pay my bills. But right now I don't have but a few bills, and so my eyes are definitely open to making better decisions for myself, for my happiness, and you know, just all around for the betterment of me, instead of all that other stuff that barely even matters in 5 to 10 years. And yeah, I am about to start my fitness journey. I've gained a lot of weight, and it's just time that I work on my weight. I've also, since I came home, I've also went to my primary care doctor, and I definitely got some news that I didn't like. So now I am, just to paint the picture, I am 20 with high blood pressure, and I'm in my 200s, and I don't like it. So I'm going to do something about it. Just like everything else in my life, baby, if I don't like it, I'm changing it. So if you guys don't take anything from this video, please take from this video, when it is time to move, y'all, move. And I'm not just talking about location, I'm talking about anything. People say the cliche thing all the time of don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. Y'all, take it from me. Sometimes you have to know when it's time to quit, when it's time to give up something. I don't mean give up on yourself, but when it's time to give up on something. If it is no longer serving you, give it up. Relationship, business venture, school, anything. If it is time to give it up, make sure you give it up, y'all, because you will be unhappy, and you got to do you. If it ain't serving you, don't do it, period. So I am Marielle. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's definitely going to be more content coming up. The kind of content I'm going to be doing is lifestyle, tech. I'm going to be doing some reviews for y'all, and just being myself and taking it to y'all on my journey. So I love all of y'all already, and thanks for watching.